Hi friends, it's Annie Grace with This Naked Mind, and I am answering readers' questions, so keep them coming. Today's question is from someone, I'm going to call her V because she wants to be a little bit anonymous. And of course that's always an option, so feel free to ask me any question and I don't have to use your name, just let me know. So she says, first I want to thank you for your videos. I find them really useful. My question is about moving forward. After some trial and error over the last few years, I'm happily alcohol-free and have been for about 4 months. Congratulations, V. I intend to make this a long-term way of life as I have no interest in drinking again, as life is just too good this way. One of the main reasons AA wasn't working for me is it seemed to keep people trapped, telling again and again traumatic drinking tales from years past. My HSM community is kind of the same, and I'm starting to wonder if this is a healthy place for me to remain. I understand the importance of supporting others in these forums, but have concerns about it stopping me from truly moving into a life where I'm not talking about alcohol every day. Even if in talking about the positives of removing it from your life, I'm still talking about it on a daily basis. You've obviously made a choice to talk about it every day as part of your wonderful work, but for those of us who are happily free to staying active in these communities, keep us from truly moving forward. Many thanks. And I think it's a really good question. I mean, yes, if I was not doing this because I feel now called to kind of get the book out into the world and provide the things that, I've found to other people, I would not be talking about alcohol every day. I would not probably be participating in forums, and I probably wouldn't be personally on those sorts of communities. I mean, for me, it's like drinking Diet Coke. I no longer drink Diet Coke because I heard it was really bad for you. And I'm certainly not, talking about that on a regular basis. So I think there is a balance to be had. And when you truly finally cement that, like, okay, that's something I used to do and something I no longer do, and I found complete freedom in that, then the need to talk about it is gone. That being said, being on those forums is a really cool way of kind of paying it forward and providing support for other people. And I think that's a really cool thing. So I want to be really clear that, most people and many people read the book or go through some sort of spontaneous sobriety or find freedom from alcohol in some other way, and they just leave it. They just wash their hands and they're done. Like, I'll use my dad as an example. He stopped drinking before I was born and it was just over. I mean, he certainly never got together and talked about it with anybody else. Other people, really need that additional support. And I think one of the reasons we need so much support is because we live in this alcohol-saturated country. I think for most people, when they, achieve some sort of realization that alcohol is no longer working for them and it's not important and they don't want to do it anymore, that can carry you quite far. And it could carry you for the rest of your life if you lived on a deserted island without any other people drinking or any alcohol available or alcohol not on TV. You certainly would never probably think about it again. Or if you never left the house, you would probably never think about it again. But the reality is that alcohol is all around us. And this funny thing happens when you see your close friends drinking. You don't quite understand why they're drinking because you now know this new stuff and you are completely free. And so there's some dissonance there because they're doing something and you love your friends, but you don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. And, they of course don't quite understand why you're not drinking. And so that distance, as humans, we want to close distance between any sort of gap inside ourselves, any internal argument, and certainly anything that is happening with us and another person. We want to get back to where we feel part of the tribe, part of the pack, and feel really whole. So online communities provide this tribe pack mentality when it might not exist in your hometown. So a lot of people continue to need them and want them and desire them for a long time. On the other hand, if you feel like talking about alcohol every day is keeping you stuck thinking about alcohol, certainly do not talk about alcohol every day and get off the communities and do what works for you. I think that's the most important piece of advice that I can give, is that everybody's journey is going to be different. Everybody's history is different. And while there's lots of similarities between us, you need to absolutely do what works for you. Don't spend your time and energy in forums if it's draining from you, because the truth is, if your motivation is just helping other people, you being fully present in your real life, in your offline life, not drinking, happy about it, demonstrating that example to every person you come in contact with in your real life by example is going to be the most powerful thing. That alone is going to be so much more powerful than, spending tons and tons and tons of hours on communities. So if it's dragging you down, certainly move past it and don't do it. And if you don't need it, you don't need it. And that's a really great thing. But I'll say don't take freedom for granted. You got stuck in the first place because of a lifetime of conditioning around the benefits of alcohol. And in our alcohol saturated culture, that conditioning is ever present. My experience, when the conditioning starts to seep back in, it feels like, a drink sounds like a good idea. Why not? Like, a drink sounds good. And for me, that's as far as it goes, because as soon as that happens, it's like a big, huge warning, like, whoa, where did that come from? A drink does not sound like a good idea. Are you kidding me? All that research I did, all those horrible things. Oh my God, no, where did that come from? And so I get really crazy about like, okay, what happened that made that, and I really become really conscious of it. And now it barely ever, I don't even remember the last time I thought a drink really sounded like a good idea, but that happens. And especially only 4 months in, I'd say that happened to me for pretty much 2 years, where it was kind of like on occasion, I would have been spending time with friends, or I would have seen some advertisement, or something would have seeped in. The thing about this unconscious conditioning is you don't know that it's happening. It's not conscious. And that makes it so powerful. So if you're going to stop talking about it, I'd say power to you, do it for sure. Equally, I'd say if all of a sudden a drink starts to sound like a good idea, use that as a big, huge, fat warning bell of why. Because you stopped drinking for a reason. Just remember that. And I think then, dipping back into the forum can be really helpful, because you'll hear all sorts of other people's stories, and it can be a really helpful kind of counterculture kind of mind control, getting back in touch with the people who are, again, discovered this freedom from alcohol. I think that's really important. And so I think, if you're free, embrace your freedom, enjoy it, live your life in this way, and just know that your actions of paying it forward are going to come in your person-to-person offline real life, where you're going to make a really positive ripple effect to everyone around you. And thank you, V, for the question. Congratulations on the freedom, and best of luck with everything.